To set up or create a new project, make sure you are in the proprietary document index. Click the Setup New Project Details button, and then you are required to enter the mandatory details specific for this project. So let's create a new project. Let's give it a project name, COD Project 4, let's just say, as an example. Give it a code, Mr. Employer, defining who the employer is or the client, and the project administrator, which will be dealt with under a separate video. This may or may not be done at this point in time. Click Save. Successful. Click OK. At this stage now, it's asking us to feed in the supplementary details specific to this project, which are dealt with by these tabs at the bottom of your screen. So the first tab, Project Details, we will populate below the details specific to this project. It's important you refer to these icons to the right hand side, which will indicate whether the information is required or not. For example, it tells us that P, being Proxa, is only requiring the document or this field for applicable law. All of these other fields are not required in the Proxa document itself. So we'll say South Africa. Let's just say, as we're going to use the Proxa document as an example, and you will click Save. Move through to the next tab, and then we are into the client employer details. Depicted by the icons, Proxa, JBCC, and Health and Safety, so we are required to populate all of these fields. If it's a new employer who hasn't been fed in previously, we would be required to manually input this information. If we have dealt with this employer previously, you will click on the plus icon to refer to the database, select, let's say, Mr. Client, save, and it will populate that information into the fields. Click Save. Once complete, click OK and move through to the next tab. Project consultant details. You would be required to fill in all of these fields if the information is known, including the client's representative. So you'll type in the name of the client's representative, client's rep, let's just say, and that would typically be maybe possibly a person. Principal consultant is required to be entered into the document, so we would say principal consultant PTY, let's just say that is the name of that firm, who the principal agent is, the development manager, and on the same basis, if we have used a previous consultant before, we can click the plus button, select from a list, save, and the details associated to that consultant will now be populated. For example, if I click Add Address Details, it knows the details as we've used this consultant previously. The details are there. We can amend and close or save. In this case, we don't need to save. We can just say close. For the principal agent, as an example, if it's a new principal agent, the fields will be blank. So let's just say, for example, principal agent PTY Ltd. Click Address Details. We haven't used this anywhere before, and we would now be required to populate this information, the contact, the email, etc. Feed that information, click Save. The benefit being that when we actually come to the document, this information is going to be automatically inserted into the actual agreement itself. The same principle will apply to principal contractor. You'll notice that this information is not required in Proxa itself, only in JBCC and the health and safety document. The same principle will apply by using the plus icon. Move through to subcontractor information. If you've got multiple subcontractors, you will list the subcontractors in this field. For example, let's just show you as an example, subcontractor A, save. We're going to add another subcontractor. Let's see, you'll click Save New Subcontractor, and that subcontractor would be listed below. If we have subcontractor, let's just say Y, save, and if these subcontractors have been used previously, the details would be listed by clicking Add Address, deleting, updating information associated to those subcontractors. Arbitrator information, Proxer, this information is required, so I'm going to, let's assume it's the same arbitrator used previously. Select from a list, let's say arbitrator, let's just see, save. Let's try another one with has some information, for example, and it will populate the details associated to that arbitrator. Click Save. If you are amending the information, move on to mediator. Same principle. Click on the plus if it's a mediator used previously. Save. Successful, and it will populate the information if been used before. Let's try that one. Save. Click OK. It will pull that information through. Obviously, there's no information at this point in time. After feeding in the supplementary details, you can click on Done once complete. If you wish to print out a summary of the details that you've fed in, you can physically print that, view the information to do a cross-check on as to the details. Once complete, we'll click on Done, and that completes the setting up of project details for a new project.